Today I talk about procrastination in real life, training with time restraints, and how to improve your predictive ability. Welcome to Mind Games TV, episode 66. Today I have a new microphone. You can't see it. Okay, this is my traveling microphone because I normally have this big kind of clunky microphone and I don't have it with me because I didn't want to bring it and increase the weight of my luggage. So here we have this cool new little lavalier mic and we'll see how it goes. And I'm in day 3 of my TSM boot camp. I'm streaming live on Periscope right now. If you want to watch, check out at Mind Games Weldon for the behind the scenes on these kinds of things, Mind Games TV, and also stuff, Periscope, stuff like the workbook that we're going to be working on today and going through that kind of stuff and giving you a preview and a hint of what is to come this weekend when we face off for CLG. It's like, how do I put it? It's going to be a very emotional day for me and Double Lift to face off against another team. What is my morning hair? This is crazy. Okay, anyway, yeah, so I haven't showered yet because we have physical activity this morning. We're going to do some sort of awesome exercise. I don't know if I'm going to do yoga or the 40% body weight stuff, which is a really fun thing where anyway, I'll tell you about it later because I don't want to spoil it for the guys. But yeah, we're gonna do something crazy. I'm getting all sweaty, and then I will fix this. Okay, so let's dive into the show. First question.
William asks, how do you stop procrastinating things IRL?
I am the least qualified person ever to answer this question. I procrastinate things in real life nonstop, so I'm not really sure that I have any advice for you, William. Here's how I've been dealing with it. I used to beat myself up about procrastination and really stripe myself and think that it was a horrible thing and think that I was useless and worthless and would never be a good human being. And then I was like, now I don't care. I just procrastinate and I'm like, whatever. I'm obviously clearly lazy and don't care about that. And if I don't care about that enough to do it, then maybe it doesn't need to be done. And then I go do something else more fun. So you have a limited amount of time in life, and I just want to do the things that I actually want to do. So if I want to do something, I'm like, yes, and I just go do it. And if I procrastinate from something, I'm always considering maybe that's a sign that I actually don't want to do that thing badly enough to actually do it. So maybe I can find some other way of caring about the world or caring about that thing in order to get it done. Or maybe I can just not care about it and not do it. That kind of breaks down a little bit when it's things related to work, so you got to get paid to live, or relationships where you can't procrastinate because people are depending on you. So that's a struggle as well. My procrastination definitely hurts my kids, but then I like to think that I have other positive benefits, and nobody's perfect. All right, so sorry I can't really answer your question.
Anthony asks, I'm not sure how I should be training. With 3 hours a day, should I be playing as much SoloQ as possible, or play a few games and watch replays?
I like this question. So if essentially Anthony is asking what is the most effective training method? What is the most effective use of my time if I have 3 hours to train in the day? SoloQ or combination of watching my replays. So the answer to this question is actually situationally dependent, but in general, I think that you'll get more out of your play if you reflect on it. So fewer games means more opportunity to regret the horrible mistakes that you make. Hey, Clink. And so I like playing fewer games. When I went from silver to plat, it was on 2 games a day. And so I was really focused during those 2 games. And every single mistake that I made seared itself into my memory because I only had those 2 games. So I really like the concept of limiting your play in order to increase the effectiveness of that. However, there is a minimum amount of dosage of play that you need to actually get the mechanics necessary. So I already had platinum level mechanics, I just didn't have platinum level decision making. So for me, it was pretty easy to go scale up on 2 games a day. So if you don't have the mechanical prowess, which a lot of people like overemphasize that. It's really like mostly a decision making game. This is a marathon. You just need like a basic level of fitness, and then you got to like push yourself through to the end and make the right decisions along the way. So I think that like you can probably consider mixing it up, Anthony, so that you have like maybe 4 or 5 days of just nothing but spamming, and then you have a 2 or 3 weeks where you play like 1 or 2 games, and you intensely focus on what you're doing and every decision you're making, and really just like limit your playtime so that you can increase the quality of it so that you can increase the quality of your playtime. And then you have another week of like mechanical prowess where you're just focusing not on decision, yes, on decision making, but not focusing on it, focusing on just like raw mechanical outplay stuff. And that's the week that you play assassins and 80 carries pretty much exclusively.
Mo asks, I'm trying to improve my forethought when it comes to macro play in League. How can I do this effectively?
So Healthy Spoon GG's asking about like how do you improve your predictive ability and like your forethought? And one of the best ways is to play jungle and try to guess at every moment where the enemy jungler is going to be, and then try to counter gank them. Like, and you start. Here's how this works essentially. Um, people who train in predictive ability, forecasting, are best when they basically predict the future and then check it and see if they were accurate, and then adjust their prediction, and then check it again, and then adjust their prediction and check it again. It disabuses a lot of like, like, how do I want to say this? You know, the people who like sit on TV like as political pundits and say like it's going to be this way, or the business people who say the economy is going this way, and they just kind of like make it up because it's based on their own like feeling and their own like desires and beliefs about how the world should work. You have to eliminate that. You have to get rid of any sort of like incorrect assumptions that you make that are based just on like how you want things to be, and you have to like just look at the facts. And so it's good to just collect data and look at the data like in a very objective way, and then make a prediction, and then see if you were right or wrong, and then make another prediction and adjust forward. So with jungler, you can basically spend the entire game doing predictions. You can predict where it's going to be, what pathing is going to take. Like when you're zoning in, you look at the team comp, you think of the jungler, you think, where's he going to start? How's he going to do this? And then you're like, how can I mirror that? And then you try to predict what you could do to mirror that. And then you try to show up where they are, and you check. And every single time you check and you find them, you give yourself a little gold star. And every time you check and you don't find them, you think, what did I do wrong? What information did I guess wrong? And that kind of helps you improve your predictive ability. Now, then for macro play, you can do the same exact thing. You can try to predict exactly what the enemy is going to do and catch them doing it. So essentially, like, let's say that the team gets annihilated, then you try to predict the next 2 minutes of the game. So your team's all dead and about to respawn, so you say like, okay, the enemy team is going to do this, and then they're going to go here. So if we get vision here, we can catch them there. So then you run out of base and you try to get there, and you try to do that before they get there, and you see if you can pull it off. And another thing that you can do if you're winning instead of losing is it's kind of easier to force people to do stuff. So like it doesn't really matter so much if you're like pushing the enemy team in and like predicting that they're going to turtle, because that's what you're doing, and then they're going to engage on us because you're pushing their inhibitor turret. So like of course they are, but then you can work on the micro predictions. So instead of macro play, you can work on like micro predictions in terms of like, okay, how is this team fight going to go out? What is going to be the initiation? What do I need to dodge, and what do I need to interrupt? And what am I looking for? And kind of start predicting that. So I think that those are really powerful skills. I think that people don't practice them because they don't spend the time. It pulls you out of the flow and makes you like work in the middle of play. So it's not as much fun. But I did it with jungle, and like within like just a week of doing that in the jungle, like I had a very strong insight into the game in terms of like, oh, I'm just learning tons of stuff about like how it is the junglers move. So yeah, that's my recommendation. There's a book called, I think, Super Forecasting by a researcher at, I want to say, the University of Chicago, but actually could be somewhere else. And this was when, after 9/11, the special services, or the special, like CIA, IRS, not IRS, CIA, and what is the one that like looks at the national stuff, whatever they are, NSI, something like that, National Security Agency, NSA, and I'm not even sure if that's right. Whatever, doesn't matter. They started creating a bunch of games to try to like find better ways of predicting things because they realized they were really bad at it and they needed to like get together. And so they started a contest, and this guy recruited a bunch of people, volunteers, and entered all the contests and like created a bunch of super forecasters and won a bunch of the contests and had the most success of any squad. So I think he wrote a book about it. I think it's called Super Forecasting, and that is a really great insight into anybody who wants to forecast anything, like predict anything in the future, because these people were not experts on their fields and they were still predicting things accurately. So I would check that out. It talks about the system of how you can be a forecaster rather than like the system in which you are trying to forecast, which is what 99% of like legal analysis is. And it doesn't get into actually like how you should go about correcting and doing proper forecasting. Okay, so I want to end today on a quote from Mike Ditka. You're never a loser until you quit trying. So this has to do with the procrastination thing. And yeah.